Basil tea. Basil tea is one of the best teas you can drink with meals. Basil tea is one of the best teas you can drink with meals, especially if you have a chronic condition like diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney disease, fatty liver disease, and even IBS. The key benefit of basil is its protective and healing effects on the liver. Basil decongests the liver and reduces fat buildup in the liver by improving lipid metabolism. This improves bile production, leading to a more thorough breakdown of food during digestion, especially fat and protein. As the fat and toxins stored in your liver decreases, insulin sensitivity and blood pressure improves. Long story short, anything that improves your liver health has powerful downstream effects that can reverse any chronic illness. Hit the link in my bio to book a call with me and follow me for more high raw vegan, plant-based diet tips. All right. Well, I'm going to have to wash my hands after the stream because I am live. We are live. Welcome to the Monday Night Live number 58. How's everybody doing? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me clearly. And I'm gonna have to run that video back. So hold on. I'm gonna have to run that back. All right. How's everybody doing? Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me clearly. Were y'all able to hear that video, that video that was playing about the basil tea? Do I gotta run it back? I gotta run it back. Sound is good. There we go. All right. I got a real jump start on the day today. I got a lot done today. So I'm feeling myself right now. But I'm gonna run that video back one more time. Actually, if y'all want me to run it back one more time, let me know and I'll do it. I'll play it again. If there's any kind of echo too, let me know if there's any kind of echo that you're hearing. All right. Oh, you saw the video earlier? There we go. Oh, you were first? That's what I'm talking about. That's right. She said I was first. All right, so let me run it back one more time. Basil tea is one of the best teas you can drink with meals, especially if you have a chronic condition like diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney disease, fatty liver disease, and even IBS. The key benefit of basil is its protective and healing effects on the liver. Basil decongests the liver and reduces fat buildup in the liver by improving lipid metabolism. This improves bile production, leading to a more thorough breakdown of food during digestion, especially fat and protein. As the fat and toxins stored in your liver decreases, insulin sensitivity and blood pressure improves. Long story short, anything that improves your liver health has powerful downstream effects that can reverse any chronic illness. Hit the link in my bio to book a call with me and follow me for more high-raw vegan, plant-based diet tips. All right, so basically, that more or less is going to be the topic tonight, right? Herbs are essential to healing and maintaining your top peak level of health, right? Yeah, you said it stopped. Yeah, because that's it. Just a quick 1 minute. I'm actually drinking Burdock tea right now. So this is Burdock root. So, and I don't get like too deep into herbs and things like that. I'm not an herbalist, right? I don't want to give the impression that I'm an herbalist. But I do know a lot about herbs, right? A few herbs. And I'm going to talk about some of those herbs today, in particular, what you need to know if you're going to start using herbs in order to improve your health or reverse a chronic condition and things like that. Because there are some caveats that you should know. And it's important to know how herbs work, right? So let me check in with y'all in the chat here. What's going on, Smart Girl Chronicles? Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you in here. Yes, ma'am. We got Miss D in the building. D after 50. Big shout out to you. Donna, good to see you in here. Him, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you in here. We got my man Jay Short. What's going on, Jay Short? Good to see you. Absolutely. My man John Greed was first in the building. What's going on? Good to see you in here. Absolutely. All right. So basically, moral of the story is, for me personally, I have like key essential things that are needed for improving your health, right? And it's a small like handful of things. I think it might actually be 5 things. So number one, it's your food, and your food basically gives you all of the building blocks and materials needed in order to optimize your health and keep you going, right? Keep you building and growing and improving. Then you've got fasting. Fasting is basically giving your body a break and allowing your body to let go of things that it needs to let go, right? And when I say fasting, I mean during a fast, you can let go of stress, traumas, body fat, toxin, all types of stuff, anxiety. You can let go of a lot of things, chronic illness, right? So even fasting in and of itself acts as a detox in a variety of different ways. And fasting acts as a bit of a reset, right? So you eat, and then your body breaks down what you eat, and it breaks it down into its smallest components, and your cells take what they need, and then your body gets rid of the rest. And it's that clearance, right? So you don't want to keep eating and eating and eating, and then you're not maximizing for clearance, getting rid of things, excess things in the body, right? So the fasting helps to do that. And then there's the resistance training, whether it be weightlifting or whatever the case is, training to build muscle, get stronger, that kind of thing. That's not just for building muscle tissue and getting stronger and being visibly, more athletic and appealing and having a better body and all of that type of stuff. The resistance training, the weightlifting and whatnot, depending on how you do it, is actually therapeutic, because believe it or not, when people talk about detoxes and stuff all the time, people never talk about resistance training. And resistance training is a form of detoxification. Exercise is a form of detoxification. And predominantly what the resistance training does is it creates these violent, strong contractions, right? And it has this carry-out effect where it actually causes more oxygen uptake, and it increases sensitivity of your cells to take what they need out of your bloodstream. And then on the back end, this also expedites the process of waste clearance from your cells. So if you have congested cells, right, where your cells are filled with waste products, metabolites, things like this, that facilitates waste clearance, the exercise. And then your body becomes hyper responsive, right? Your body becomes hyper responsive. Fasting kind of works the same exact way. But fasting is more acute, and it's a very powerful detox aid, actually. Of course, when you're engaging in resistance training and you're just rep after rep, set after set, doing all this training volume, breaking down your body, well, now it's not so much of a detox method anymore, right? Because you're just beating up your body and taking all this damage. And the more sets and reps you do and the more you train, the more waste products and breakdown you actually accumulate. So it has a bit of an opposite effect actually on your body. So that's not particularly what you want. So there's the eating, the fasting, and then the training, right? And number 4 is going to be your herbs. Herbs are nature's medicine, all right? All human medicine, all medicine, period, comes from plants, period, full stop. All medicine comes from plants, right? And plants, and particularly herbs, right? Some people call them weeds and all of this, but it's all important and highly medicinal, right? But your herbs in particular are very, very powerful. They smell really powerful, right? And the smell kind of gives you an idea of what it does. So for example, all of the herbs that are good for stress relief, they have a strong, pleasant smell, right? Think about it. Chamomile, peppermint, basil, lavender, right? The smell is it's soothing, it's relaxing, right? So the basis for all of your healing comes from herbs. You have different types of herbs, and they do different types of things, and they come in different types of dosages, right? Some herbs, you can apply them topically. You're actually not supposed to ingest them, right? Some herbs are great in teas. Some you can turn into a powder, and you take it in a capsule form at a fairly high dosage, right? You can make tinctures, things like this. But if you're dealing with any type of chronic health condition, it could be high blood pressure, hyperlipidemia, high cholesterol, diabetes, eczema, Crohn's, colitis. And I'm going to talk about things like eczema also, right? I'm going to talk about that, psoriasis and things like this. Because if you are dealing with something like eczema or psoriasis or even lupus, it's really, really important to understand the importance of herbs. Okay, and why these issues even arise in the first place. Because if it's showing up on your skin, that implicates your liver. All right, I'm going to get into that later on. So all medicine comes from herbs, to the point where if you are taking medication, it is a good idea to not take the medication when you're taking herbs, because a lot of herbs actually neutralize medications. All right, so your doctor will often tell you to not take certain herbs with the medication, or not take any medications, or not take any herbs with whatever medications you're taking, right? And that's a sign, right? If your medication is not compatible with natural herbs and foods and things like that, then that medication is a bit sketchy, right? It's a bit sussy-wussy, right? So I got to stress that. So I'm going to start with basil. Basil is one of those staples that I've become a really big fan of. And I've seen basil reverse acute conditions in a matter of minutes. All right. In my personal life, I've seen it. Basil works very, very quickly. Okay. Most chronic illnesses stem from a congested liver and stressed kidneys and adrenal fatigue. It's usually a combination of these three things. When people talk about adrenal fatigue, it's not like, oh, your adrenal glands stop producing hormones. It's not what that is. Adrenal fatigue implies resistance, meaning you have become desensitized to the effects of those hormones, where those hormones, like for example, cortisol, it's elevated for such a prolonged period of time. Yeah, it's keeping you up, it's keeping you awake, but you're lethargic at the same time, right? Yes, cortisol is beneficial for building muscle. It's beneficial for maintaining high levels of endurance. It's beneficial for fat metabolism. Cortisol is actually a beneficial hormone. But when it's chronically elevated, you become resistant to it. It's too high of a serum level in your blood at one time. And so your body develops a resistance to it. Same thing as like caffeine, right? You're constantly drinking coffee for energy. You could be like awake. You're awake, but you still feel fatigued and exhausted, like lethargic. You just can't go to sleep. So you end up being in this weird position where you're awake and you're wired, but also tired with brain fog, right? This is resistance. Diabetes is insulin resistance. You're like type 2 diabetes in particular. Type 1 is a bit different. But type 2 diabetes, essentially you're resistant to the effects of insulin, or your cells are resistant to the effects of insulin. Your cells are just not responsive to the presence of glucose in your bloodstreams. It's just not pulling on that glucose at all with the utilization of the insulin, right? So herbs are really good at resetting your sensitivity. So a great example of this is the effect that basil has on blood sugar. So for example, if you have a meal that's very carbohydrate rich and you drink basil with that meal or before that meal, right? Your fasted blood sugar, or your blood sugar will come down to a fasted state much quicker. And the potential blood sugar spike will actually be lower. So basil works really quickly to improve blood sugar after a meal. So if you drink basil tea and then you eat your meal, you get better blood sugar numbers. Okay, basil is really powerful stuff. Now the interesting thing about it is basil, top line, it affects your liver, and then there's all of these cascading benefits that are downstream from that. So usually people are insulin resistant because they have a congested liver. Basil actually helps to break up and remove the fat, the excess fat buildup from your liver. Basil helps to detoxify your liver, so stored toxins, excess fat, and things like that in your liver. Basil ramps up lipolysis, right, and reduces or inhibits lipogenesis. Lipolysis is the breakdown of fat. Lipogenesis is the synthesis of fat, right? The creation of fat structures. So basil basically helps to break down and metabolize fat. And so basically what happens is basil starts to, what's the word for it? Not unfat your liver, right? But basically it drains the excess fat out of your liver, or it helps to oxidize that fat stored in your liver and clear it out from your liver. As you clear out excess fat from your liver, you also clear out excess glucose buildup from your liver and metabolites from your liver. One of the downstream effects of this is you get better insulin sensitivity, because the chronic inflammation from a congested liver causes your cells to be less responsive to insulin. Okay. Also, with the benefit of decongesting your liver, you get better bile production from your liver, right? So your liver produces bile, and that gets sent to your gallbladder. And when you consume fat and protein, that bile is released from your gallbladder into your stomach to facilitate the digestive process. Okay. Or you do a what's it? You duodenum. What's that? Am I saying it right? I feel like I'm not even saying it right. But essentially, bile is important for breaking down, your proteins and fats and whatnot, your food in general, really. But this is really important for dietary fats. This also helps to increase the process of creating or synthesizing amylase, pepsin, and trypsin. Okay, so basically, with the increase in bile and digestive enzymes, you get better digestion. So basil also helps to improve your digestion. So if you've been dealing with a lot of gas, bloating, constipation, like you eat and then your food feels like a brick on your stomach, it's really uncomfortable to eat, that kind of thing. It feels heavy. It doesn't feel good, right, after you eat. This is typically a sign that your food is not really breaking down thoroughly enough, right? Your food is not going through like a full digestive process. So as that food makes its way through your digestive system, your cells don't really have the available nutrients to take up the resources, right, from this digested food. So your cells don't know what to do with a strawberry. Your cells don't know what to do with a chickpea. But your gut can break down that strawberry into magnesium, manganese, potassium. It can break it down into glucose. It can break it down into vitamin C molecules, B vitamins, things like that. It can break it down into its smallest parts, and your cells go, ooh, I need that, right? And you can get this uptake of these resources, right? That's why it's so important to have an adequate level of digestive enzymes, stomach acid, etc., right? Bile also acts as like a lubricant, right, for that digestive process. Also, this is very important for acid reflux because basil contains an antioxidant called, I believe it's pronounced ursolic acid. I haven't heard anybody say it yet. I've just read about it, right? So it's ursolic acid, right? Ursolic acid. And so basically what this does, this acts as a relaxer, right? So it regulates the dilation and contraction of your vital organ tissues, right? So in your intestines, your esophagus, and all that type of stuff. You get acid reflux because there's a latency that's causing a hitch in the dilation and contraction. So you're getting this backspill of acid going up into your lower esophagus, right? And that's usually because of stress on the gut and some type of disturbance or disruption in the digestive process. So the basil and this antioxidant helps to really dilate and soften up the tissues and allow them to be more elastic, right? To expand and contract as need be. Peppermint also does a similar thing, right? So this indirectly causes more of an alkalizing environment, right? That's conducive to digestion, okay? As you get a more thorough digestion of your foods from having adequate levels of, like, let's say amylase, which is needed for breaking down like carbohydrates or starchy foods. So if you eat like rice or potatoes or something like that and you get gassy and bloated and your stomach feels real uncomfortable and you get like this food baby and it's real uncomfortable and it feels like it just lasts forever, right? It's just this infinite food baby sitting on your gut, right? It can be a lack of amylase. And so basil can help correct that issue. If you, let's say, you went on a raw diet or a high raw plant-based diet in order to reduce your amount of protein in your diet, or you cut animal products out of your diet because your gut doesn't handle like the protein very well, doesn't handle the fat very well. That's usually a lack of pepsin and trypsin, right? So having an increase in those actually help to improve the digestion of those foods, right? So the basil helps to auto-regulate or modulate the level. So if they're too high, they bring them down. If they're too low, they bring them up, right? So you don't got to worry about, oh, basil lowers one thing too much or raises one thing too much. It doesn't really work that way, right? It actually works with your body and acts as a way to create a stable environment, right? Usually when something is too high, that's because something else is too low. And if something's too low, it's because something else is too high. There's some type of hitch somewhere, or there's a short in the communication, right? Where one thing is supposed to close and another thing's supposed to open, right? So if this is closed and this is closed at the same time because one thing or another is not getting the message to open up as one thing closes, you get this jamming, right? And that's what causes a lot of issues. That can even cause you to have tightness in your joints or muscle spasms and things like that. It's a latency in your nervous system, right? So these herbs can actually help to regulate that and improve the messaging throughout your nervous system. Now, also, when you drink basil tea, okay, all of these improvements on your liver have downstream effects that are actually protective of your pancreas. So you can actually get increased sensitivity and synthesis of insulin in your pancreas. So you take the stress off of your liver, and this results in less oxidative stress on your pancreas. And less oxidative stress on your pancreas allows your pancreas to focus optimally. Okay? So you get less oxidation of your pancreas, and therefore you're not hemorrhaging zinc and reducing your insulin-producing beta cells and kind of just bleeding out your pancreas. So this actually causes this protects your pancreas from all the incoming stress that's downstream from your liver. And that contributes to the reversal of things like type 2 diabetes and even a significant reversal of type 1 diabetes, right? Maybe not a full, complete reversal, but pretty close, right? Type 1 diabetes is one of those things where you can reverse it gradually over a prolonged period of time. It's a bit unique because you actually need to replace the insulin producing beta cells inside your pancreas. Right? So you actually need enough magnesium, you need enough zinc, you need enough vitamin D, you need enough glutamine and things like that in order to produce the stem cells and optimize the digestion and use those stem cells to produce more of those cells and that type of thing, right? So that can be a lengthy process. But in a nutshell, that's how that whole process works. And then in your kidneys, right? Because if you unlock and uncongest your liver, this also regulates adrenal function, okay? So you can actually get an uptick in adrenal sensitivity. So you get more sensitivity to adrenaline, you get more sensitivity to cortisol in an acute fashion, meaning your cortisol is elevated in the morning, but not at night. So you get to go to sleep easier, right? So you have an abundance of energy in the morning and mental focus in the morning, and then you're calming down in the evening when it's time to go to bed. So there's this change off, right? So your cortisol is coming down during the day, right? And then serotonin is increasing, and then dopamine is increasing. And as it gets darker and the lights go out, you get more of a melatonin release from the brain, and you're allowed to go to sleep, right? This is also conducive to dopamine sensitivity, right? So basically, dopamine facilitates this pleasurable feeling, right? And kind of works in harmony with serotonin. Kind of similar to what ashwagandha causes too. I'm gonna talk about ashwagandha later. Ashwagandha is a bit hardcore, right? Because it's like a sedative almost. I'm talking about more of a natural process. And so basically, your kidneys kind of open up and improve the filtration And so you get more of this streamlined, consistent removal of waste products and whatnot out of your bloodstream, movement of your lymphatic fluids, and out through your kidneys. And this helps to detox. So in a way, basil is a detox herb in several different ways, actually. So if you have kidney disease, fatty liver disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all that type of stuff, if you have hyper or hypothyroid issues, right? Basil helps a lot towards reversing those issues because of those downstream effects, right? A lot of the times when people have hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, it's because of adrenal issues, right? So the basil helps to regulate all that. It also aids in weight loss, but not because it's like a fat burner necessarily. It's because anything that's a detox is going to help you to drop body fat. Second on the list, what I'm drinking now is Burdock. Burdock acts as like a clear all. It's like a cure all almost. And the cool thing about like basil and burdock is they're not real strong. As in like you get real adverse reactions from them. Some people, there's certain things. So for example, I'm a big fan of ginger and turmeric with cayenne pepper. It's real strong. For some people, too strong. Burdock and basil have more of a softer touch. Burdock is one of those things. And you know what's interesting? If you ever smelled burdock, you know, my lady mentioned this to me this morning. What'd you say? Burdock smells like chocolate. Yeah. It's like, it smells like chocolate. I'm like, it kind of does smell like chocolate. It has like this earthy, kind of sweet smell to it. And it tastes really good too. Basil and burdock are like my top two. They're absolutely amazing. So I'll show you too. I don't know if you can see in the camera. So I got like these tea bags here. Miss D, you sent me these tea bags. And then it's like, this is the burdock root. All right. So burdock, basically the root is the part that you want. The leaves not so much. The root is where all the powerful stuff is at, right? So you want burdock root. Burdock root is like a straight up detox and alkalizing herb. Okay? Burdock could be like a staple in your day. Every morning, every night. Right? So this here is like 2 teaspoons of basil in this tea bag. I mean, not basil, burdock in this tea bag. And essentially, if you have a congested liver, if you have congested kidneys, if you have cancer, if you have psoriasis, if you have eczema, and things like that, burdock, okay, would definitely help to reverse issues like that. I don't talk about cancer a whole lot on this channel, and perhaps I should talk about it more. Because one of the biggest rules to killing cancer is to increase oxygen uptake. Cancer largely is anaerobic, which is why cancer thrives in an acidic environment, right? And so basically people think that like, oh, sugar feeds cancer. And it's like, well, it's not that sugar feeds cancer. It's that anything that is anaerobic specifically feeds on sugar, right? So it's not the sugar, it's the anaerobic state. And if there's an abundance of sugar for cancer to feed on, chances are it's because you're insulin resistant. So your serum glucose levels are just way too high, right? So it provides an abundance of energy to feed cancer. It's a different thing, right? Sugar is a primary energy source for anything that's anaerobic. So it's not a problem with the sugar, right? It's the environment that the thing is feeding in. Parasites are the same way, right? Which is also the reason why burdock is anti-parasitic. In particular, cayenne pepper it kills parasites, right? Because it maximizes oxygen uptake and alkalizes the environment, right? And parasites don't like that. But before I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So on the burdock, right? People will sometimes come to me and they'll say, hey, I have psoriasis and, I get like dry, itchy scalp. I get these patches and whatnot and it itches and I want to scratch it. It's flaky and I hate it, right? Or eczema, right? These are like indications of something going on in your liver, right? It's usually a lack of vitamin D3, which by the way, if you have a lack of vitamin D3, if you have an impaired liver, even if you're spending enough time out in the sun, you could be getting the sun exposure. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be synthesizing the vitamin D that you need inside your liver, right? So you need D25, right? So you get sun exposure and then your body synthesizes vitamin D internally in your liver. If your liver is impaired, this can cause you to have low vitamin D levels. And if you combine that with a lack of magnesium, this amplifies the whole process, right? So usually if you supplement with vitamin D3 and you have a magnesium-rich diet and perhaps supplement with magnesium, which is one of my go-to suggestions for an issue like that, they can help a lot with your liver. However, the magnesium and the vitamin D supplementation isn't really a liver detox. It's a supplement to give your body the thing that's lacking. So basically your solution can be twofold. Your solution can be supplementing with the vitamin D3 and the magnesium to get those levels up, but then also detoxifying your liver using some type of herb so that your liver can then do its job so you don't need all the supplementation as much, right? Or you don't really need the supplementation at all, right? And so burdock is really good for decongesting and clearing the liver, right? It's alkalizing. It maximizes oxygen absorption, okay? If there is anything that is going to reverse a chronic illness, it is going to be oxygenation of your cells, increasing oxygen uptake. You've got asthma, you've got psoriasis, eczema, lupus, MS, whatever the case may be, right? Anxiety, depression, whatever type of other destabilizing brain chemistry issues, PCOS, right? Increasing oxygen uptake. So when people talk about the Dr. Sebi diet and they talk about an alkaline vegan diet, when they say alkaline, essentially what they're talking about is a diet and lifestyle that facilitates the optimizing of oxygen uptake, right? Oxygen is alkalizing, right? And creating an alkaline environment inside your body also facilitates more oxygen uptake. So it's this two-sided thing, right? It's both and. So magnesium facilitates more oxygen absorption. Potassium facilitates more oxygen absorption. And the thing is that you need oxygen in order to produce power. You need oxygen in order to produce heat, in order to produce electricity, in order to produce life. Right? So a big part of a raw vegan diet is the fact that all of the foods that you eat are basically foods that grow in direct sun exposure. So these are foods that are specifically grown by direct sunlight. So all the sun exposure and the oxygen creates this photosynthesis and it grows this large, energy-rich, nutrient-rich plant or fruit or whatever the case is. And when you eat it, it has these incredibly beneficial results. It's all because of the sun, right? You're combining sun, minerals, water, oxygen. So your diet should also reflect that. So when people talk about like sea moss and sea vegetables and how powerful and healing they are, it's because these are vegetables that grow in an environment with optimal oxygen uptake. They're closer to the equator, there's more direct sun exposure, right? So you get more photosynthesis, so you get a strong mineral content in the environment, so you get just straight medicine. right? So that's how that works. So people will compare, they will combine things like bladderwrack, right? Also alkalizing, right? And bladderwrack, it looks kind of weird. Bladderwrack is like it looks like it almost looks like this alien sea vegetable. It almost looks like it's not even a vegetable. It's not, I don't know. If you see it, it kind of looks like a net or like I don't even know what to call it. It looks odd. But bladderwrack is phenomenal. So bladderwrack, burdock, right, sea moss, these types of things. I mean, this is just primarily grown in an alkaline environment. This is also too kind of why like mushrooms are a mixed bag, because mushrooms don't really grow in direct sunlight, and mushrooms are actually like a parasite. So they feed off of something that is dying, and so as that thing that it's on is dying, it feeds on it. It grows, right? It's this parasitic kind of thing. Interestingly enough, you can expose mushrooms to high levels of sun or UV rays, and they synthesize their own vitamin D and all that type of stuff, and they can actually be extremely beneficial. But that's another conversation, right? So we got some of my top two favorites. Basil, by the way, basil is antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral. Okay, as well. So if you've got candida overgrowth, you've got SIBO, right, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, basil is phenomenal for that, and it's easy on your gut. So if you combine in your daily habits basil tea and burdock, that goes a long way towards improving digestion and improving your gut microbiome, right? Because of reducing the oxidative stress that's going on inside your gut. And that carries over to improving liver, kidneys, pancreas, hypothalamus, pituitary, all this type of stuff, right? All of your vital infrastructure, lungs, everything, vascular tissues, all that. So you create this alkaline environment, and this reduces the latency in your nervous system. So there's not a slowdown or hitches in your nervous system. Your nervous system, think about your nervous system as like a strong internet connection, right? Like your nervous system can be like dial up. Your nervous system can be like DSL or broadband. Your nervous system can be like 4G. Your nervous system can be like 5G, right? Or even beyond that. The more of an alkaline environment you create inside your cells, and I'm not trying to say like to maximize, you want completely alkalize everything 100% alkaline, right? Like on a scale of like, 0 to 14, you want to be all the way 14. I'm not saying that, right? When I say create an alkaline environment, I'm typically referring to the ideal range of in between is 7.2 and is 7.6 or something like that, and you undulate back and forth within that range. You should always be slightly alkaline, right? But if you can hit and maintain that sweet spot of like a 7.4 or whatever the case is, which your body does this on autopilot on its own. So your body's always producing acid and then recycling and then alkaline and recycling back and forth, and it changes from moment to moment, right? So I'm talking about on average, you maintain an alkaline environment. That's what I'm talking about. So as you do that and you alkalize your cells, basically you detoxify your cells and you kind of free up bandwidth, right? So internet, the thing that slows down your internet and causes lag is because too much of an aggressive usage of bandwidth. Right? There's too many things running, right? So you start closing some windows, closing down some programs, you clear your cache, right? And you restart that whole thing and all of that. Maybe you reset your device and then you get a better, faster running connection. It's kind of how your nervous system works, right? So you free up your kidneys and your liver, and you cycle your lymph fluid and all of this. You get hydrated, you bring in more minerals and that type of thing. And you can actually reduce the latency in communication from one nerve to the other, right? So your nervous system and the communication becomes streamlined, so there's no hitches or latency from signal to signal. And as a result, you get sharper brain, right? You get better communication skills, better neuroplasticity, learning capability. You get better muscle contractions, more strength, muscle growth, all this type of stuff, right? So like even in the fitness space, if you want to build muscle and strength, even herbs are beneficial to that. Because if you want to grow muscle, it is nearly impossible to build a muscle without adequate nervous system function, right? If you want to improve the growth of a muscle, you have to optimize the nervous system's connection with that muscle. So you have like bodybuilders, right? Bodybuilders will do, well, you know, you got to stick out the pinky finger and then rotate the thumb and then curl the wrist and then tuck the elbow and all, you have all of these different little techniques and maneuvers in order to get the strongest contraction possible out of a muscle, right? Yeah, people doing bicep curls like that. What you got to do is you got to start up here and you got to pull the handle down to your ear and then you got to squeeze into your head to contract the bicep, and that's how you get that peak muscular contraction in the bicep. And people get crazy, right? It sounds ridiculous, right? But the method to it is whatever you get the strongest, clearest connection in your nervous system to that muscle is, whatever helps you get that connection, whatever helps you feel it the most, whatever helps you streamline your mind-muscle connection, that's how you can really train that muscle and get it to grow. And that's true, actually. It is true. And so for me, coming from a fitness, performance enhancement, corrective exercise background, really focusing on movement hygiene and joint health and all of that, I can tell you that is a very real thing. I have people squat, and we were able to improve their squat stability and strength by doing things like adjusting their foot position, where you turn it out 45 degrees, you focus on rolling to the outsides of the foot, right? And these little gestures, these little things that you can change in your body, right? You can press against the knee, push against my hand, and do all these little different things before you start squatting, and it's like night and day. And all it is nervous system activation. That's all it is. It's just to provoke a particular response to your nervous system. And once that gets firing, you're good to go. It works that way with muscles and strength training and muscle building. It also works that way with your vital organs in order to improve hormonal function. Same principles. All is about your nervous system. And so this is why things like food and herbs and whatnot are so important, because of its effects on the nervous system. A lot of times people will have like back pain because they've been constipated for too long. Right? And I've actually heard this story a lot. I remember the first time I heard it, I kind of laughed. I was working at a gym as a personal trainer, and I had a client where he was experiencing a lot of back pain. He was like, I don't know what's all this back pain. Right? And I'm like, dude, you got to clean up your diet. You got to eat like, what I want you to do is just for the next couple days or whatever, I want you to just eat like a grapefruit a day and like just eat a bowl of like chopped kale. Right? And he did it. And then he was like, man, I had the largest dump in the bowl ever in my life. I feel like I emptied my whole colon out and my back pain is gone, right? And I was like, basically, you were full of shit, right? I mean, that's essentially it, right? You were just packed up to the point where it hurt your back. That's essentially what happened, right? And that's a very real thing. Speaking of constipation, issues of constipation, diarrhea, things like that, I got to get into it. Ginger. Ginger is a beautiful lubricant for digestive health. Ginger is a phenomenal herb, okay? And ginger, actually, anything from that family, so ginger and turmeric, powerful stuff. Ginger and turmeric are amazing. I'm a little bit more biased to ginger. I don't like the taste of turmeric. Like personally, if I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, I love turmeric. I do not like the taste. I put turmeric in my food. I don't like the taste. Turmeric by itself is nasty. I don't like the taste at all. I got to put it with all kind of stuff. I don't like it. Ginger, however, I do like ginger. I can drink ginger in a tea straight up by itself. I don't like doing that with turmeric. I will if I have to, but I never really do, so I mix it with ginger. And ginger makes it so much more palatable, okay? As a matter of fact, I enjoy drinking ginger tea by itself without the turmeric. But as far as ginger is concerned, ginger is really, really good. Like if you're constipated or you need a smooth move, ginger is phenomenal. High blood pressure, ginger. Constipation, ginger. High blood sugar, ginger. Headache, ginger. Right? Nasal congestion, ginger. Cough, ginger. It's phenomenal. All right. If you want something even stronger, like let's say you have a lot of like chronic joint pain, elbows, knees, feet, ankles, neck, just joint pain. You just swole up, right? Joints are stiff, crackling, carrying on, right? 1 to 2 grams of ginger, 1 to 2 grams of turmeric, and a pinch of cayenne pepper or black pepper. I don't like the black pepper. I can't. I prefer cayenne pepper. The black pepper works too. Basically, pepper in general. Black pepper, white pepper, cayenne pepper. They work as like an activator for turmeric. Too much turmeric at a time will cause your body to inhibit the absorption of the turmeric. Right? So like if you're doing like a whole teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of turmeric in water or something like that, a lot of it is actually not going to be absorbed because it's too strong and it's too much at one time. It's like a little micro trauma. So your body will actually inhibit a lot of the absorption of the turmeric. So if you want to maximize the absorption, you would add a little pepper to it. This is the thing I had to research because I didn't really believe this. But there's herbalists who know way more about this stuff than I do, and they have a consensus on this. So I'm like, all right, fair enough. And so that's like one of the rules with turmeric, right? Turmeric is effective without the pepper. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh, well, turmeric is not going to do anything without the pepper. That's not true because I've had people where they did the turmeric without the pepper, phenomenal results. But the extra edge, if you want the extra edge, adding the pepper to it will get you there. But the ginger, the turmeric, and the cayenne pepper, strong. Flu, fever, that dash 19. I'm not gonna say the whole thing because I don't want to get dinged for that. They act funny about people talking about that. Yeah, what was that saying? So any kind of sickness, parasites, ginger, turmeric, cayenne pepper. Asthma, ginger, turmeric, cayenne pepper. You wheezing, difficulty breathing, ginger, turmeric, cayenne pepper. Mold toxicity, like mycotoxins, ginger, turmeric, cayenne pepper. Okay. Cinnamon. All right, specifically Ceylon cinnamon. It's a bit more mild, goes down a bit easier. It's not so abrasive on the liver like Saigon cinnamon might be, right? What you said? Mama Do is in the building. Well, you say, guess I'll have to see the replay. I'm late tuning in. Oh, it'll be up. It'll be right there in your email if you're on the list, if you signed up. By the way, I should make that announcement, shouldn't I? In the link in the description of this video, I have a link where you can either book a call with me, you can join my 12-week mentorship, or you can sign up for my free newsletter to get notifications of when I do these live shows. All right? Back to the show. Cinnamon. Cinnamon is phenomenal for people with high blood pressure and diabetes. Cinnamon is one of those herbal teas to have first thing in the morning. Right? That's cinnamon tea. Now, often for me, I put cinnamon in foods. Okay. So like a lot of my breakfast recipes, I'll put cinnamon in it. So like coconut yogurt, a mix of berries, hemp seeds or flax seeds or chia seeds, things like this. I'll add like a teaspoon of cinnamon in there or something like that, right? Cinnamon is really good for your pancreas. It's really good for reversing diabetes, improving insulin sensitivity, blood sugar control, hormonal regulation, blood pressure. Absolutely phenomenal for blood pressure as well, right? So that's one of those things you get your morning off on the right start, right? Cinnamon is phenomenal. Good for digestive health. You get a nice smooth bowel movement in the morning, right? Cinnamon's really good for that. Going back to the liver, all right? The liver is at the root of healing, right? You want to heal from anything. You got to address your liver. Everything gets passed to your liver. All right. Roasted dandelion root. Roasted dandelion root tea. Powerful stuff. So for me personally, I would have like roasted dandelion root before bed or right after the last meal or before the last meal of the day. Roasted dandelion root tea. Absolutely phenomenal. Also really good for fasts, right? So on a fasting day and leveraging herbs on your fasting days, man, let me tell you something. If you want to maximize fat metabolism and weight loss on your fast, implement those teas that improve blood pressure, blood sugar, and detoxify your liver. All right. So roasted dandelion tea definitely is on the list. Okay. Milk thistle. Milk thistle, so you can take it in a capsule. Milk thistle is actually really good for painters. So like if you're a painter or a construction worker, you're inhaling a lot of fumes, right? So if you have like any kind of jobs like that, you work in a factory or you're working with chemicals and things like that, you're inhaling a lot of stuff, right? Over a period of years, however long you're in that environment. So milk thistle, okay? Milk thistle, roasted dandelion, all right? Definitely very valuable for your liver. There are a lot of herbs that help to detoxify your blood and protect your kidneys. But as far as healing and rejuvenating your kidneys, chamomile tea. If you've got extensive damage to your kidneys, chamomile actually helps to heal your kidneys. Okay. Now, I'm high raw, and largely the reason why too is because you have like cooked foods that are extremely valuable, but in particular because you can well season the cooked food with herbs, rosemary, thyme, all types of different peppers, white pepper, black pepper, cayenne pepper, cumin, turmeric, right? All of these different types of things. So your meals can be filling, energizing, and medicinal at the same time. So you can sneak a lot of these herbs, these healing herbs, into your food and drink herbal teas. Right? So you don't just have to have them in herbs, in teas, you can also have them in meals. Right? I add cinnamon to like smoothie bowls, right? Cacao to smoothie bowls. I'll add other different types of herbs like the ones that I mentioned to meals, paprika, cumin, what else? Yeah, thyme, parsley, right? Fennel, things like this. Fennel tea, by the way, really good for your liver as well. And blood detox, powerful stuff. Okay. So yeah, I basically just wanted to give y'all a rundown of some of the herbs that I'm a big fan of and what they do and why they're so valuable, okay? So you can be eating all the right foods, but the missing piece for you can actually be the herbs that go along with your diet. All right. Let me catch up with some of y'all in the comments here. Where do I buy my herbs from? Either Frontier or this this company called West Star or something. What's it called? Let me see if I can look it up right quick if it'll pop up in mine. Let me see if I can look it up because I just ordered. I keep forgetting the name. I don't want to spend too much time looking at this, but I know Frontier is one that it's one word, so it's easy for me to remember. But it's West something. Where is it? Where is it? I gotta scroll to my orders. Okay. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, I'll have to look it back. I'll probably do a post or leave a link to it. It's West something. I'm blanking on the name right now. Star West. There we go. Star West. Yes. There we go. Because I was like, it's not West Star. It's like yeah. So those are the two, and I guess the third one would be like Terrasol. Do we lose muscle on extended fasts? It depends on how long the fast is for. Like if you're fasting for like 24 or 36 hours, not really. If your fast is like 48 hours, 72 hours, you might get a little bit of a muscle loss. I mean, it's circumstantial. It depends on a lot of different things. Sleep quality, what herbs are you drinking? Are you taking any supplements? How active are you during fasts? That kind of thing. So it varies. How long it frequent bathroom trip lasts when first switching 100 raw? How long if frequent bathroom trips last? How long does the bathroom trip last? Or you mean how long does frequent bathroom trips last? Like you keep going to the bathroom, how many days you mean? It varies from person to person. Like when I switched to more of a raw diet, I mean, I didn't really have like this, I'm running back and forth to the bathroom kind of thing. I didn't really have that, personally. But I think it's because I've been whole food plant-based for so long. I didn't really have all the other issues on the back end. That's right. Like the stream, y'all. Like the stream if you like the stream. All right, definitely drop kick, smash down on the like button. You know what I'm saying? Put this in your socials. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit the link in the description to book a call with me if you need, more information. How often should you drink the teas? When should you drink them? How else should you have the herbs? What food should you put them in? What's the dosage? And all of that type of stuff, right? Oh, by the way, let me see if I can find this. I saw something nutty, y'all. Where's this? What is this? National Kidney Foundation. National Kidney Foundation, man. I was like, hold on, wait, what? I saw some bonkersness, man, that they had up on their sites. National Kidney Foundation herbs. I was curious what they had to say about herbs. Where is it? I think it was this. Spice up your diet, 7 kidney. What's this? They was talking about National Kidney Foundation had up, yeah, nationalkidneyfoundation.org. They had this article. Let's see if I can try to find it. And they had this article talking about what's the best herbs, and it was like pair this herb with beef, pork, chicken. I was like, excuse me? First of all, anybody with kidney disease should not be eating no damn pork. And I was like, dude, what? Let me see if I could find this article, man. They got a few things on kidneys and herbs. Because, sometimes you'll have like medical institutes and they'll have like this weird skeptical language about herbs. Oh man, I should have bookmarked it. I was like, because I was shocked. I was like, yo, why are they telling people to eat? Oh man. All right, I'll have to find some. I'm not doing a good job of finding things tonight. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I figured maybe I could find it on the fly. I was blown away by this. Because the thing is that, like, people say this whole check with your doctor stuff, right? People will go to like, people will jump in my comments and be like, oh, don't listen to people on Instagram or don't listen to people on the internet. Talk to your doctor. I'm like, most people who reach out to me for help, they've already talked to their doctor. That's why they're talking to me in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, all the things that I just told you about these herbs, most people, their doctors don't know any of this stuff. It's outside their wheelhouse. So people will say, well, I have high blood pressure and I can't eat grapefruit because I'm on blood pressure medication. And it's like, well, you probably should stop taking the blood pressure medication because it's not fixing your blood pressure. Right? So if you ask your doctor, oh, I'm on this blood pressure medication, how long do I have to take it for? Your doctor's like, well, we'll see how things work out. Well, how long do I have to take it for? It's a medication. How long does it take to fix my problem? They can't give you a timeline because it doesn't fix your problem. Well, you got to exercise and you got to eat right. Okay, what is eating right? Why do I have high blood pressure? Oh, well, it can run in your family. You've got stress. Okay. What is the gene that runs in my family? Well, we would have to do some genetic testing. Like, it's kind of loose answers. It's not real specific. All right? Because your doctor would be like, well, you know what? So basically, if you have high blood pressure, rather than giving you a blood pressure medication, what we can do is give you more of an electrolyte-rich, water-rich diet. Okay? Maybe supplement with some glycine. And we got to check to see what some other areas. Maybe run a blood test and see what your vitamin D levels look like. If your vitamin D is low, that can cause you to have high blood pressure, right? They'll say things like, take this blood pressure medication, try to drink more water and eat less salt. Cutting salt out of your diet does not fix your high blood pressure. You don't have high blood pressure because you eat salt. It's not how that works. I never tell people to cut salt out of their diet in order to lower their blood pressure. It's not going to do anything. Your problem, if you have high blood pressure, is not because you eat too much salt. It's probably and most likely because you're not getting enough potassium. Potassium basically is what channels more blood volume and blood plasma into your blood. Basically, potassium is needed to hydrate and increase blood volume. Okay, if you have dehydration, you get a narrowing of your arteries because of less blood volume, and your blood becomes thicker, and you have less oxygen uptake and less electrical energy flowing through your cells in your bloodstream. Therefore, you get more stress and vascular constriction. Okay. Potassium helps with dilation, okay, and it helps with the softening of your vascular tissues and the maintenance of your endothelial layer of your vascular tissues. Right? Vascular constriction, where it's basically it's a tightening, and that's because there's a stressor that is causing an increase, okay, in that what people call stress, right? Angiotensin. And so your body basically responds to stress with this. you get tight, right? Your body's response to stress is tightening. So basically what happens is you get more hydrated, you get more magnesium, you get more potassium, and it helps to relax, open up, because it's a buffer against the stress, right? So there's these different mechanisms. We can go all day about high blood pressure, because high blood pressure can be caused by a variety of things. But essentially, if you increase electrolytes, your blood pressure regulates. It's one of the simplest things I can tell you. Increase vitamin D and electrolytes. It's usually what does it for most people. So when I say, eat more like bananas, grapefruit, pineapple, grapes, things like these are electrolyte-rich foods, right? Eating more leafy greens, more berries, grapes, pineapple, this type of stuff. These are very electrolyte-rich foods, right? So we're talking iron, potassium, magnesium, calcium, not so much with the calcium, right? You don't want excess calcium. One of the worst things that you can do is be dehydrated with low vitamin D and magnesium and increase calcium. It's one of the worst things you can do. You get more calcium floating around in your bloodstream, especially if you increase protein intake and then you have high levels of saturated fat. You're going to end up getting more plaque development. You can get more calcification of arteries, and you get more stone formation and crystallization of acids inside your tissues, leading to things like arthritis. So I never really tell people to you need to increase your calcium intake in order for get dense bones or whatever. No. Your time to get all of your calcium was when you were a baby, okay? It was when you're developing years, when you're a fully grown adult. It's not a lack of calcium, right? Most people with bone degenerative issues and whatnot, it's not a cause of they're just lacking calcium. That's not it. Calcium is one material that is used in the formation of certain structures, right? But you need protein, you need magnesium, you need phosphorus, you need manganese, you need these other different things in order to contribute to the scaffolding and structure, the molecular structure and whatnot of your cells. So it's this weird emphasis on calcium when it's a lot more complicated than that. It's like anemia, right? People, oh, you're anemic, you need to get more iron, take this iron supplement. And that never fixes the problem, right? Because people have been anemic and been on iron forever and they're still having problems with anemia. It's well, because you need more electrolytes, you need more vitamin C, you need more copper, you need more B vitamins, you need more chlorophyll in your diet, you need more magnesium and vitamin D, right? The biggest problem with anemia, basically, is that it inhibits oxygen uptake, or it reduces oxygen uptake, right? So it could be, oh, well, you're having low iron and it's leading to anemia. Well, what is anemia? Is it just low iron? Is it low hemoglobin? Are you lacking red blood cells? Are your red blood cells too large in size? Are they funny shaped? What's the problem? You got to be more specific about the problem. And then if you're lacking iron, well, why are you lacking iron, right? It's because you're not getting enough dietary iron, or you're not getting the other things in adequate amounts needed in order to synthesize the red blood cells. Is that the problem? What's the deal? Right? So it's a much deeper conversation. It's not just as simple as just, oh, add more calcium, or, oh, add more iron. It's a bit more than that, right? Do you have a compromised gut lining, right? Or do you have a hyperpermeable gut? Do you have enough of the digestive enzymes to even break down your food enough to even get to the iron? What's the deal, right? So you have to have more of a holistic approach to these types of things. But anyways, let me get off my soapbox. Let me get to these questions here. What if you have both high blood pressure and kidney problems? How does potassium play in that case? Usually, one of the drivers of high blood pressure is kidney disease or chronic kidney inflammation, right? So basically, if you have stressed out kidneys and your kidneys tighten, this could over time reduce the filtration rate of your kidneys, and as a result, this causes vascular constriction, right? So you would have to address not your kidneys, but you would have to address your liver, right? There's usually a peripheral issue, largely caused by excess protein and fat buildup in the blood and dehydration, right? Those are usually the cases. So basically, if you have more of an electrolyte-rich food, and sodium is an electrolyte, it's also why I'm not a big fan of cutting sodium. Sodium is needed to hydrate your cells, right? So you could eat 4-6 grams of salt a day, 8 grams of salt a day, whatever, doesn't particularly matter. The way you balance out your sodium intake, if your sodium intake is too high, it's not by cutting sodium, it's by increasing potassium. So, you eat more tangerines, more grapes, more apples, pears, more kiwis, more bananas, more cantaloupe, honeydew, watermelon, this type of thing. That helps to balance things out. You get more of these water-rich foods, cucumber, right? So you eat more cucumber, you have more leafy greens, this kind of thing. Right, that does the trick. Oh, by the way, if you are a woman who experiences strong menstrual issues, a lot of bleeding, and that excess blood loss can lead to a potential deficiency in blood volume, lack of iron, and vitamin K2. All right. So in order to counteract the extra long cycle or the heavy bleeding, one thing that you can add to your basil is cilantro. All right. That helps counteract the constant blooding. It helps with clotting. All right, so that's another herb. I didn't originally think about that, but that's one of the things also. So cilantro, that's a good one as well. All right, I can talk all night. I'm not going to keep y'all up here too late, right? But I think I got through everything I wanted to get through here tonight. Oh, one more. Is it good to use sea salt in your water while fasting? Yes. It is an electrolyte, so magnesium and sodium are probably my top two electrolytes during a fast. Did I check my browser history for it? That's a good one. I'm not going to do all of that right now. I'd have to do that some other time. I don't want to hold y'all up. I'm over here reading through it. Because I read it what was it? Like yesterday or the day before or something like that. So I done pulled up and read a whole bunch of other articles since then. And they got a whole bunch of articles on kidneys and stuff like that. All right. So yeah, if you need help, book a call with me. You need a diet plan, you need a training plan, you need more coaching support, anything like that. Definitely that's what the 12-week mentorship is for. You get weekly coaching calls, diet plan, training plan. You get step-by-step guide with all of this stuff. Okay. So having said that, I'll see y'all on the next Monday night live stream next Monday. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. And for those of you who are in the tribe, I'll see you Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Talk to you soon.